Hi guys, it's been a minute. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know I've been off the radar for a minute, but I'm back now. So, weeks ago, I had posted that I had a testimony to share, and I just realized that I never got to the sharing part of that testimony, right? So, I'm trying to remember, I think it was earlier this year or last year, right? I had given a testimony on my WhatsApp. And now that I think about it, I should have posted that testimony on my YouTube, on my TikTok, that way, or my Facebook. That way I could go reference it and, instead of recounting the story again, right? So what had happened was, so there's this woman at my job, at my old job where I used to work. I think this was either early this year or last year, right? At my old job, and I had prayed for her, right? I had, give testimony of how I prayed for her, and I felt in my spirit. I prayed for her out of compassion, and I felt in my spirit that she was okay, right? And I left the job. Well, my friend, I have a friend who still works at the job. So when I'd gone back to work, I think the week after, she wasn't there anymore. She had gone to rehab. So I was very excited. I came and I shared my testimony. And I think it was months later, right? My friend who works at the job told me that she was back. And my first response was, it's not possible. I didn't say that out loud at first. I said, it's not possible. I prayed for that woman. It's not possible for her to be back there. And and I was like, how is she doing? And she says, oh, she has gotten worse. So I proceed, to asking her how's the woman, and she told me, she has gotten worse. Her wounds are really, really bad. Now they can see her bones. She's not talking. She needs RT. They have to put the trach, whatever they call those things, can't remember. For her to breathe, for her to breathe. She has gotten really, really, really bad. She doesn't talk anymore. Um, she looks like she feels like they're just counting on it feels like she's going to pass away anytime soon, right? And I said, and I finally then said it out loud that it's not possible, that I'd prayed for her, you know, but nevertheless, I knew that she was going to be okay. She was going to be better. It's not possible. So I remember when I was taking a shower that night. See, my shower place is my prayer ground. Just you hear shower, shower a lot. My shower place is my prayer. It's my first prayer ground before my prayer closet. So I remember in my place of prayer when I was taking a shower, I said, Lord, it's not possible. I prayed for that woman. And I'm 26 years on this earth. I'm yet to make a request and you don't answer it, especially when it's something that is in line with your will. I prayed for that woman. That woman has a 10, I think he's 10 or 11-year-old son who comes to the hospital with her mother, that's his grandmother. And that woman cannot be fading away in front of that child. It's not possible. I remember crying so deeply about it. I remember praying so deeply about it, and I was like, is something happening? Was there something wrong with me now that God doesn't want to answer my prayer? But nevertheless, I kept praying about it, and I put my hands, on places that I recall that she had those wounds on under her armpits, her private region, her under her breast, her face, her back. I put my hands there and I begin to speak the word of the Lord. And I said, I use myself as a point of contact for this woman. When next I will ask my friend about her, I must receive good news. I will receive good news. I'm speaking, I'm declaring, I weep in my place of prayer. I'm interceding for her continuously. So I think weeks after, I call my friend and I'm like, how's my woman? Because she calls her my woman. I'm like, how's my woman? And she's like, well, she's just there. you know, I still don't give up. I keep praying. I think a week after that, we talked about the woman again, and she said, she's like, this woman has 9 lives, that she's no longer on the track. RT had come and taken off those stuff, that her wounds are healing. But the way she's seen that wound on her back, I think it was her back or her butt, that wound will never heal. She won't be able to sit down, yada, 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 yada. And I remember saying to her, it's not possible. That wound must heal. That, see, oh, I was like, that wound must heal, right? So she's saying what she's saying right there, right there. I'm declaring the word of the Lord upon that woman's life. You know what's funny? Her name is Beatrice. I remember her name. So I'm calling her name and I'm praying for her. Her name is Beatrice. And I also learned that she had a twin brother. Isn't that amazing? So she says that everybody was coming to the hospital to visit her. She was getting better. The last time that I heard, she said she was able to sit down, and now she's talking. And the lady has an attitude, and that's one of the reasons why I liked her when I first met her. She was sick, but you could tell that this woman has light. This woman has fire in her. Very beautiful young lady in her 30s. This woman has fire in her, right? So to summarize the story, last I asked my friend of my woman, right? She said my woman has gone to, I think, rehab, because she didn't have to be in the hospital. She didn't have to be in that unit anymore. She has gotten so much better, like so much better. If you see if you see the way I was, dancing, jumping, calling my sister, calling my friends, and I'm telling them there's this lady that I was praying for. I'm joining my faith with that of her family. I'm praying. I'm crying. I know. Let me recall something that's very important, right? When I'd gotten the reports that she wasn't, she had come back to the hospital. I remember telling myself that my ears are not for evil reports, because that news is evil reports. One thing I don't listen to and I don't entertain is evil reports. My life does not accept evil reports, negative reports, anything that does not give me joy, anything that is not of my father, anything that's not my father's will is a negative and evil report. And my life does not accept evil reports. And I remember saying, oh, wait, maybe I should call my pastor and ask my pastor that if you're always praying about sickness, or you're always praying about certain things, and they always come to pass, and now you're praying and it no longer works, what does it mean? Is it that I'm now a sinner, God doesn't want to hear me anymore? After that nonsense thoughts, I know the way how you quickly rebuke something. I rebuked that thought, and I kept praying, kept speaking the word of the Lord, kept declaring, my dear, my dear, that woman is not going back to that hospital. It is not the will of my father that that boy will go to his mother's funeral. I kept saying it, we keep saying it. Everything that God does is good and perfect. He has a timeline, and no man can change God's timeline. So that's my testimony on my woman. I'm so grateful. I wish that I could really break it down, and give you guys, but I'm lucky saving my storage space, because the testimony, the testimony is plenty. It's very plenty. And I have to tell all, I have to share it every day. I must come and give you guys testimony. Because if I thank God for what He has done, right, He'll do more. That is what I've noticed. Every time that I testify of something, God will now, God will, you blow my mind. And this year, 2025, mind-blowing testimony is what I've signed. I've signed up for mind-blowing testimony. Not, testimonies are great, but the one that when you hear, you will know that God is real, God is faithful, God is good, God is kind. That's the one that's a package, premium package. That's the package that I have signed up for this year. Thank you for listening to my testimony.